liberties and the rights that all Americans deserve.
Thanks for that call. The next call from Mesquite, Nevada. Is that right?
Yes.
Are you a Barr supporter?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I want him to know about the veterans.
And what about veterans do you want,
I want
Mr.
to know
Barr?
about the Veterans Affairs. And I want to know about the veterans.
Okay, and what do you want him to know about that?
Because I want to know if he's going to support the veterans who are Vietnam veterans and Korean veterans, and Afghanistan, and the current what do you call it?
Unfortunately, you have your TV up, so we're getting a little bit of feedback on this end. Can you quickly mute that television volume?
Yes.
Okay, great. I want to finish up your comment. We have to get to some other calls. So how would you wrap that up?
Well, I just want to know if, as long as we vote, we're going to vote for Ron Paul, but now Chuck Baldwin is the backup person, and I just want to know, will he support us disabled veterans who are disabled? Because we have not gotten any support because of what the government has sent the VA's money, and yet the VA has squandered the money for us veterans these last two budget times.
Great, thanks for that call. Moving on now to Enta Rosa Beach, Florida.
Hi, that's Santa Rosa with an S.
Okay, thank you. What's your comment tonight?
I thought this was the best debate I've seen all season.
What did you like about it?
Well, because they spoke truth to power, both of them. I was able to make my final decision tonight watching these two.
What was your decision?
Well, I've been for Ralph Nader pretty much since he first ran. I'm a baby boomer, Vietnam era, and you can't find any of his policy points that point towards anything selfish. I mean, he wants everything for everybody. Mr. Baldwin he had a lot of good things to say. I particularly liked the part where he said he would abolish the Federal Reserve Bank. But he definitely is Ron Paul's replacement for Ron Paul's candidacy, I believe, because other than that, his policy sounded identical to Ron Paul's. But he lost me on the global warming thing. That he seems like he might be more of the kind of president who would put creationism in schools, and I just don't think that's right. He doesn't understand the separation of church and state. You don't hear anything like that from Ralph Nader. He's just all about making the people in Washington work for the people.
Now a call from Stafford, Virginia. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say I really wasn't impressed with either candidate. I think Ralph Nader has the same socialist tendencies that we see within Barack Obama. And really with Chuck Baldwin, it's more of that theocrat tendencies that come about with the Constitution Party. My vote stays firm with Bob Barr. I think he's the best candidate on the ballot for this nation in 2008.
How important do you think the third parties are to the electoral process?
I think they're very important. I think that they push the agenda in the direction of their issues. So by running a campaign, even if they only garner a few percentage points, it's still very important because Republicans and Democrats are forced to address their issues in the long term.
Okay, moving on to the West Coast, Santa Cruz, California, a Ralph Nader supporter.
Hello. Thank you for the interview. It was really wonderful. Actually, I started out as a Ron Paul supporter, and I really would vote for Nader today, especially after this interview. I know Ron Paul's endorsed Chuck Baldwin, but I frankly find Baldwin really scary, especially on his comments about immigration and protecting the borders, as he puts it. We currently have a 100-mile, what they call constitution-free zone, where the federal government is insisting that it has the right to detain people without cause, to investigate whether they're legal or illegal. And this is really the leading edge of the police state, but Baldwin didn't talk to that.
Okay, moving on to a Baldwin supporter from Fresno, California. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I was originally a Ron Paul supporter also, and I'm voting for Chuck Baldwin because he wants to end the Federal Reserve, and he's against the New World Order, and that's my main concern. We need to stop going into other countries and policing over there and leaving us we're leaving us open for terrorists to come here. We need to secure our borders, and that's the facts.
Los Angeles, California, you support Ralph Nader. Why is that?
Actually, I'm an ardent Ron Paul supporter, a bit after hearing what Ralph Nader courageously said against AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobby, and how basically it's influenced our wars in Iraq and the coming war with Iran. It's very concerning, and he had the courage to address that. You can go to neoconzionistthreat.com for more about that. And Chuck Baldwin, he makes some valid points about illegal immigration and securing our border, which I agree with. However, he danced around the AIPAC issue. Again, that's American Israel Public Affairs Committee that Ralph Nader addressed by saying it was a globalist agenda and all that. And that's what, the conspiracy theorist talk show host Alex Jones likes to focus on instead of the real culprits here, which is, members of this ardently pro-Israel lobby here in America that's pushed us into these wars, and these pro-Israeli Zionist bankers that have basically ripped off the American public, and we're paying for it with this outrageous bailout. I mean, it's making us broke, and that you can't go. Ron Paul actually addressed that as well, that the bailout's outrageous. But I think I'm going to vote for Nader after I saw the courage he had to address the issue, especially with the pro-Israel lobby. And again, you can go to neoconzionistthreat.com to get more on all this.
Okay, just want to let you know that after this next call from Nashville, we're going to take a look at some poll numbers for our third-party presidential candidates. Nashville, go ahead.
Yes, I'm a Ron Paul supporter, but I definitely support Chuck Baldwin. He wants to end the Federal Reserve, and I like both Nader and Chuck Baldwin. I just really like Chuck Baldwin's issues on securing the borders.
Thanks for that. Now we're going to take a look at those polling numbers for the third-party presidential candidates. There's that visual on your screen. Shows the progression over the past few days, specifically today in the most recent Reuters C-SPAN Zogby poll. 2.3% of those surveyed say they'll vote for Ralph Nader. Just over half of 1% say they'll cast their ballot for Libertarian Bob Barr. And 0.3% of people surveyed say they'll vote for Cynthia McKinney, the nominee of the Green Party. Now a call from Louisville, Kentucky. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm actually going to support Barack Obama, and I was just impressed with how consistent I thought some of Nader's primary points were with what Obama is supporting or advocating for today. I was surprised that Nader continued to characterize the Republican and Democratic parties of today as a two-headed monster, because I really do see them as very, very distinct entities at this point in history. So I've always been a Nader supporter, and I think he's fantastic, and I think he's led the progressive end of the Democratic Party in the right direction.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so as someone who is a supporter of a major party candidate, what do you think the third parties bring to the presidential race?
I think they bring exactly what the earlier caller said, which is they bring up the relevant issues that the center parties cannot voice with the kind of conviction or clarity that the third party candidates can voice. So I think that Nader has been leading the progressive end of the American spectrum for a long time, and I greatly credit him for that. And I'm glad he's laid out enough of a path so that Barack Obama is in a position to follow it, or at least to give credence to the really significant parts of it. So I voted for Nader consistently in the past, but I think he's opened up a venue where we actually have a candidate that can win that I can vote for. So I think the third parties are essential, and I appreciate that they continue to do the work that they do.
Two of the third-party candidates who were invited tonight did not attend. One of those was the Green Party candidate, Cynthia McKinney. She released a video statement about tonight's debate saying that she was not going to attend and explaining why. It's on YouTube. We're going to watch that now.
The situation with the Nader debate is that you've got one campaign that has selected the date of the debate, the structure of the debate, the venue of the debate, the moderator of the debate, and then has extended an invitation to the rest of us to participate in the debate. I'm not accepting that.
And also, the other candidate that did not attend tonight that was invited to this third-party debate was Bob Barr. He declined to attend because of an appearance reportedly at Georgia Tech that could not be canceled. A letter that Mr. Barr's campaign manager sent to the group Free and Equal Elections, who is hosting this event, said that, quote, "I believe that this is twice that your organization has made a public announcement regarding an imminent presidential candidate debate without first checking the availability of the candidates." Moving on now to another call from Scottsdale, Arizona. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, who do you support?
Chuck Baldwin.
Why is that?
At this present time, reviewing everything that everyone said, there's validity to all points. We're really only been shown, which is unfortunate except for the privilege of having you guys represent and equally show what Mr. Baldwin, as well as Chuck Nader, and the common sense approach to the serious issues we are dealing with. Having worked for the media and NBC, looking at the world politics and listening to associations and other media from Europe and abroad, you're looking at this from a perspective that gives a wider viewer for the audience to get a better mainstream understanding of what politics is about. This was clean. The third party needs to be represented, and it's really a shame that the other networks and are not giving the opportunity for these gentlemen and anyone who wants to be able to speak to present their issues and make a statement so people have a wider choice.
Okay, thanks for that. We're going to wrap up this series of calls with a call from Manlius, New York. Is that how you pronounce your town?
Manlius, New York.
Manlius. What do you think about the debate tonight? Who are you supporting?
I support Ralph Nader. Many people I know are supporting Ralph Nader, and I believe he has a much higher percentage of support than the polls are reflecting. He not only stands for defending our constitutional and civil rights, but he would be able to repair the damage that has been done by the Bush administration, and he would prosecute Bush and Cheney as war criminals. He's the only one of the candidates that has actually said that. And, I mean, he's also going to prosecute the corporate CEOs that have been milking this country for decades. And I believe he will go in there and get the investigation started and start putting the money back into the country where it needs to go, into our infrastructure and our educational system and our health care and the environment. He believes in global warming, as I do, and I believe that our endangered species are at risk, and we have to take care of our environment and our world for our children and their future. And he's the only candidate that gives me hope for the future.
Thank you for calling in. That was our last call of the night. For more on third-party candidates, go to cspan.org/politics. And a reminder that Green Party presidential nominee Cynthia McKinney will be on tomorrow morning's Washington Journal. A little earlier in the show, we'll talk to economist John Irons about the unemployment numbers. Then a look at the presidential candidates' health care proposals with the National Journal's Marilyn Weber-Serafini. Washington Journal begins at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on C-SPAN. And later in the morning, a hearing on workers' pensions and job growth. The director of the Federal Pensions Benefit Guarantee Corporation testifies. Live coverage from the House Education and Labor Committee begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, also on C-SPAN. More political coverage tonight.